All right, 877-3DP Show. Email address, dp@danpatrick.com. Twitter handle @DP Show. Yes, Todd.
One of the cast members of the very popular, successful, and Emmy-winning NFL Live on ESPN, which kept us from receiving the award last night for Outstanding Studio Show Daily, Mr. One Dan Orlovsky has just checked in for the top of the final hour here.
All right. Hey, Dan, how are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you, good sir?
I'm doing crappy.
Yeah. I feel very poorly right now.
Do you?
I do.
Why? Do you think we deserved it?
I think we deserved it as well. But you're a good man. And the people you work with are good people. And I know there's only one winner, and it makes me feel awkward now talking to someone who didn't win that was probably very deserving.
You know what it's like when you throw a pick six or something, when you have a moment and you got to come back from it. I mean, can you help us understand, how do we come back from such an embarrassing loss that we didn't win the Sports Emmy last night?
Yeah, I think that you guys, there's a couple really good self-help books that might be out there that you can entertain too. Listen, I mean, we did win, and I woke up this morning and 2 of my 4 kids absolutely stunk this morning. So I had to deal with life moving forward as well, no matter we win or lose. So I looked at my wife after we dropped off our daughter to school. I said, well, whether we won last night or lost, 2 of our 4 kids gave us absolute attitude this morning. So here we are.
Well, in all honesty, sincerity, congratulations. Dan Orlovsky, ESPN analyst, part of NFL Live, former NFL quarterback. Let's say 5 years, let's say 10 years ago, I told you, you know what? You're going to be part of a show that wins the Sports Emmy. You would have said what?
You're out of your mind. There's no shot. I won't even be in TV. What is a Sports Emmy? I didn't know they gave those out.
Because I look at you and I keep thinking you're an offensive coordinator in disguise. You're an analyst. But have you given up that dream of being a head coach or a coordinator?
I don't think I've given it up. I think I want to be, as always, I'm very honest and transparent. I felt in the last 2 years, it was probably the closest that calling had come for me as far as the desire and the pull. And probably after this past maybe 4 to 6 months, that has subsided. And it's probably the furthest I've been away from that in a couple years, just because of the reality of where we are with our life as a family. I've got, 3 7th grade boys. I've got a 4th grade girl. My wife loves living where we live. We've made really good friends in town. I don't have the desire to uproot that right now, with a want rather than a need. I'm fortunate. Some people have to do that because it's their only choice. I don't have to. And so, I really love what I'm doing right now. Dan, I think this process of going through being nominated and then being a part of last night, it kind of, I don't want to say re-energizes because energy is not what I need. It makes me want to continue to climb things. I'm going to be honest with you. I was up for analysts of last night as well. I was furious for not winning. Furious. Everyone's like, it's an honor to be nominated. I get that, but I wanted to win that. I really did. And when Barkley won, I texted him like, what the heck, dude? And I was bummed. My wife, I was like, I want to go. I was being a sore loser, a baby. And so I want to win that one day. I really do. So it's been really cool to be a part of the team that won. And I love what I'm doing right now.
Talking to Dan Orlovsky of the Mothership, the tush push we're waiting, supposed to be voted on any minute now. What do you think? How does this play out?
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to get, it's going to get passed, that it's going to get banned. I just caution everybody that there's going to be consequences that come from this that no one's really looking at. If it goes back to the newest proposal, which is what Green Bay has put out there, I believe, language wise, that no offensive player can push or pull another offensive player, we're totally changing offensive football then. And this is about way more than just quarterback sneak. My mind goes to all of those plays that the ball carrier or quarterback, whoever gets hit at like the 3 or 4 yard line. And then all of a sudden the 2 or 3 offensive linemen come in. It becomes that will push, who's got more desire at that moment to get the ball across the goal line, because that play will now, if the ruling gets passed, will go from a touchdown to then a penalty. And just so everybody understands, defensive players are caught. First guy, make the hit, wrap up. Second, third, fourth guy, come in, hit, punch at the ball, put your helmet on the football. So now from an offensive perspective, if this rule gets passed, I hand the ball off to my back and he gets hit at the 4 yard line. No one on my team can touch him from that point forward of push or pull, but the defense can come in and punch at the ball and rip at the ball and hit at the ball. Then we're changing football offensively in a way, and we're also changing some, if we're being candid, defenseless player situations.
Yeah, I still think Philadelphia is going to be extremely successful at a quarterback
Agreed.
sneak because of Jalen Hurts. There's nobody like Jalen Hurts in the NFL. Nobody who has that much lower body strength at that position can get that low, and it's about leverage. But the Eagles imported Jason Kelsey to be a lobbyist here at the owners' meetings. What could he possibly be saying to these other owners that are going to make them rethink their vote?
I would imagine there's a little bit of the health part of it, and him speaking on his own behalf or experience, because there's people who say there's health concerns or injury concerns. And so him sharing that, I think him sharing the unique ability to, the way that they coach it, the way that their interior offensive line does it, to your point, how Jalen Hurts executes it and how, it's not a cheat play for them, but more as something that they've really perfected because of the way they coach and the people that they have. I'm sure it's an angle to try to educate the owners maybe differently than, oh, they're the only team that does this and it's unfair.
How excited are you about the NFL being in the Olympics with flag football? How does this
I think
look?
it's really cool. I really do. I think it's very cool. My biggest takeaway is how smart the NFL is. It's brilliant. If you listen to Commissioner Goodell and his words, he was saying, this opens us up even more to men and women, all ages, all over the world. And so now you're taking the game of football that many of us Americans know, and you're bringing a version of it to all parts of the world that maybe don't know a ton about it and maybe can feel that, oh, I can play football. Like, Dan, I've always thought the protection of the quarterback rule that changed years and years and years ago was about kids. It wasn't about, Eli Manning. It was about moms and dads letting their 8 or 10-year-old son watch the game, because the 8 and 10-year-old son who falls in love with football is going to be the 30 to 40-year-old who watches football, And so it's a little bit of that. This is brilliant business, stuff from the NFL. And it's, I said this yesterday in NFL Live, these players in the NFL, you climb the highest mountain that you think you can climb. When it comes to your profession, you accomplish it. You can't go any further. And so now this gives them another mountain to climb, another challenge to go accomplish. How rare it would be to be a person that is an NFL professional player, an MVP, a world champion, and then an Olympic champion. I think it's very cool.
Okay, but how many players will play for Team USA who are NFL players? The team that will represent us if we're trying to win a gold medal, how many players will get that opportunity?
Yeah, it seems probably half a dozen, maybe 10. By my understanding, you got to try out. So how many guys are going to be willing to just go try out? Because let's be honest, there's an ego element to these guys as well. We all believe that we're the best and whatnot. 2, you can only have 1 player per NFL team per country, I believe. So that means that, Brian Branch and Jahmyr Gibbs, both Lions, cannot play for United States.
Okay.
So that limits your pool just a little bit.
Okay. Are you going to have 32 players competing for 10 roster spots on Team USA flag football? Is that how this plays out?
No, I don't think so. I mean, how many quarterbacks are actually going to go try and do it? How many receivers, will be, willing to do it? I'm sure there are going to be some organizations that are a little bit cautious on it. I know they all voted in favor of it. We'll see how they feel about it in 3 years when it's their Super Bowl window and it's their star receiver that they're concerned about and whatnot. So I don't know if it'll be 32, but I do think that there's going to be a decent amount of guys, at least initially, interested in it.
Yeah. Can I submit this for next year's Sports Emmy? Having you on it, having won, and agreeing that we deserve to win the Sports Emmy?
Yeah, you could submit it. Yeah, you could submit it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about a round of applause to Dan Orlovsky?
All right.
They deserve the Sports Emmy.
Congrats.
Good guy.
Yeah. Should be a very interesting NFL Live episode later today for you, Dan.
No, I'm actually not on today. I'm not on today.
Good for you.
I'm not on today. I'm not. My sons have a big lacrosse, last regular season lacrosse game tonight, so I don't want to miss that.
Thanks for joining us, and congrats again.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. You're a legend. You know that, so thank you.
Thank you. That's Dan Orlovsky. Yeah, I've taken care of my part of this. I'm the legend. It's the other part. That's the problem. I'm a Hall of Famer. The show is in the Hall of Very Good. You know what? Maybe I go work for NFL Live.
Seriously?